Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the GC Show. I hope y'all are doing absolutely amazing here on this Monday afternoon. And welcome in. We got another guest episode this week. Welcome in, Maddox.
Hello, GC Show fans.
We got a banger episode coming at you guys this week from CIY Move. As you can tell, we are currently in our dorm room right now. That is why we're not sitting in the chair. That's why we're not at my house or any other place right now. So, to begin, me and Max are going to do a little discussion about CIY this week so far, because why not? Talk a little bit about what we've been going through this week, maybe help you guys, understand the things that have been talked about here this week, and maybe take something away from this. So, to begin, what's been the best part of the week so far, in your opinion?
I think just with CIY in general, and if y'all don't know what it is, it's Christ in Youth. It's the CIY. And I just think the biggest thing here is the fellowship.
100%.
And
yeah.
I think that this is the first year that we're able to go with our sister church and the churches in our area at the same week. And it's a new campus for us this year. And it's a lot of change, but it's a lot of good change. And it's led to a lot of fellowship and a lot of connection and community.
100%. Yeah. What I think is best for work, I was actually going to say building the relationships and stuff with people. But I think also too, growing with some people even within our church that maybe I haven't known as well before, and deepening friendships has been such a big part of this week. And I think small group time especially has been really good this week. We've had a lot of deep, vulnerable talks, so that's also been really good to have. So it's been a great week so far, and we still got about 24 hours to go. So we still got really a lot when it comes to CIY, because just the last few nights that it gets really intense. So
it's really intense.
So when it comes to the sermons, what's the biggest thing that you've taken away so far from the sermons this week?
Our second night here, our full day 2, we had our night 2 sermon, and Jaron,
whatever
it was, he quoted this and he said this: "Stop asking to be taken out of it. Instead, ask for help from God."
Oh.
Because I think that's just what I've always been focused on. When I'm praying to God, I'm always God, save me from the situation. God, take me out of the situation. I should be asking, God, guide me through the situation. God, lead me in the right direction. God, lead me in a different direction, rather than fully just taking me out.
I like that, yeah. I think probably the biggest thing that I've personally taken away from this week was actually last night's sermon from Vivi. She was saying a lot how when it comes to materialistic things in this world, phones, cars, we want the new thing, but when it comes to our souls, we want to just stay complacent and stay where we're at. So a big thing that stood out to me there is we need to change, and change is hard, but it's so necessary to grow in your faith as a Christian. It's such a big thing.
Yeah.
So, what do you think is something that God's been teaching you or showing you specifically this week?
We have a morning speaker. His name's Alex, and one of our electives this week, which is one of our lesson things that we can go to, was called Top 3. And at this, Alex was leading it, and he was just answering a bunch of questions. He had 3 big questions that he answered, and then he was asking the audience, hey, what are some questions y'all need to ask? My question didn't get answered during it because it would come up on the screen, and there were 100 people in there. It's crazy. So I went up to him after, and I was just describing my situation. I was just how do I fully trust God? And he told me, and this is the biggest thing that God has really been working through me, and he made me realize this, is in these down moments and in these negatives are the moments, not when you are trusting God less, but when you're building trust with God. Because in the end, he's going to make it right, and that trust is just going to be built up just even more than it was before.
100%, yeah, that's really good. I think, dude, top 3 has been so good this week.
It was great.
Both days I've had has been really good. I only went to one of the days, but...
Which day did you go to first?
I went to the second day.
First day was good, yeah.
Yeah, there were so many questions. There were 150 on there. It was insane. I think the way that God's been, showing me something this week is, I feel like I'm someone who doesn't really get super vulnerable often, and I feel like he's been showing me that this week. Hey, the struggles of your past, those, don't define you at all, and they, don't have a grip on you. And I think that has allowed me to just kind of talk in small groups a little bit and really be vulnerable, because that's something that, I'm not used to doing because I'm not comfortable doing that typically. So I think that's the thing that God's been showing me this week is hey, I just need to get more vulnerable and have those people around me that I can trust and go to in times of need and stuff like that. So it's been such a good week.
It's been such a great week.
So I want to ask now, was there a specific moment during worship, a sermon, or really any time in general that hit you hard?
I have 2.
Oh,
I'm going a little bit above and beyond for this question. The first one is during a sermon, and it was during Vivi's sermon, and she said, "You might not need a new group, but a new purpose in that group." And they don't know the story, but she just started working in youth ministry, and one of her students, who she said was a great student, very in tune with God, the mom came up to her and was like, "My son loves his youth leader, but he needs a new group. They are cussing, they're doing drugs, they're vaping, like giving all of these sins, all these bad things that these kids are doing." And she literally looked to the mom and was like, "Your son, the reason he's there isn't because he isn't meant to be there. It's because he's there to redefine their focus of Jesus and their like mindset of Jesus." And I just thought that was like really cool for my life, because like I need to start changing my purpose rather than my group.
100%, yeah.
And then the second thing was during worship, just our worship leaders this week, there's two in specific, Lewis and Jeffrey.
They're so good.
They are up there,
They're
arms
awesome.
out, on their knees. Jeffrey is mic away, and he is screaming worship, screaming praise God. And I just think that's been such a cool moment, just to see like how someone who is in the worship ministry and knows how worship works fully, just how they really, and their worship is just so much more ahead of ours.
Oh yeah.
And it's just so like, it was so crazy to see.
It's so cool. So yeah, I think another thing, kind of with the worship too, that's actually kind of, well, it was like kind of the same thing as like also worship, but just seeing like the community, like people during worship, something spoke to them and, down on their knees, like crying and praying, and seeing the community around that has like been there for each other, like within our church, has been so good to see in this time that we're here. And I think that's something that like hit me really hard, is like, man, like even if you don't think like there's people here for you, like people are there for you, and they're there so much more than what you think they might be. And that just hit me really hard to see like we're one big family here at the church.
Yeah, one body of Christ. Yeah, it was night two that I literally sat down in my chair and got on my knees later, and at both times I did it, I was like crying, like in tears after our response moment, and hands are immediately, my back is just covered in sweat because everyone's hands are just like warming me up. But I mean, the sweat's whatever. Like, the community is just great, and I saw that too. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's been so awesome to see that this week. So how do you feel like your relationship with God has grown this week?
Like I said before, with what Alex said about how like those moments are the moments that like define your trust. I think that this week has really been a week where I kind of came in with less expectations. It's my fourth year here. It's your third year here.
Yeah.
I came in with a little bit less expectation just because it's the new campus. It's a smaller campus, a smaller group of people. It just seemed like everything was kind of like, ooh.
Yes, I was the same way here.
What are we gonna like? What are we doing? Like we're not like, when we do basketball tournament, we're gonna have like a worse gym. When we're with these churches, like there's a couple people that like I don't think I have the best relationship with, just because I maybe used to be friends with them and then left, and they found Christ too, and like it's just like awkward and stuff. And I came here with low expectations, and God just like, when I fully trust Him, He let me be in the moment, and He let me just actually be here with, I don't need expectations, but I'm gonna still have fun. I'm gonna still praise His name, and I'm still gonna take something from every sermon.
Yeah, I think literally I was actually saying like kind of the same thing, but taking it a different way. Kind of is like, I need to be more grateful for like the little things in a way, because coming to this campus, I was the same way. I had like very low expectations compared to, Tennessee, because there were significantly more people, stuff like that. And I think I kind of just came to the mindset of this week, like, oh, I'm not looking forward to it because it's like different and like in my mind, like worse. But it's been significantly better. And I think it's just taught me that, I need to be like more grateful and give thanks to God more for the little things. And even when like the situation's not how I was hoping, I still need to be grateful, because, even though our dorms, for example, probably out of the 3 years I've been here, probably the worst dorms we've had, but it's better than sleeping outside. It's better than sleeping on a bus. So, even if like this is like the worst situation that like we've had so far,
it's still great.
It's still awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, that's not what it's about. This week's about praising God. So I feel like that's how my relationship is growing with God. I feel like I just need to be more grateful for the little things, give praise to Him more for the little things.
Yeah, and I think with the dorms, we were on the bus. I remember the boys, we found out we got the worst dorms. And the boys go, oh.
Yeah.
Let's boycott. Let's not go to these dorms. I think we've spent less time in these dorms than literally anywhere. Like, we have only been sleeping here. And we just haven't been here. So I think, like, that's just, like, what these low expectations. Like, the campus is small. We don't need to walk 15 minutes to breakfast every morning.
Yeah.
It's a 2-minute walk up the street.
Which is really nice.
It is nice, exactly. And I think just like that is like the little things that like the low expectations were actually high rewards.
100%, yeah. I should agree with that very much. That's really good what you said there. I like that. So when it comes to this week as a whole, what are some things that you've heard maybe in a sermon or, just kind of in general that you plan on taking and applying to your life after CIY?
I think the biggest thing for me is, and you've discussed it with the vulnerability. I mean, over the past 4 years, including this year that I've been to CIY, I definitely have been vulnerable. But I think this year, I've been less focused on just me being vulnerable, but me allowing other people to be vulnerable. Because I think, like, I'm talking all about this community. There's so many people here that, like, I get to meet, love, be with. And, like, now, like, I get to actually, like last night was a very emotional night for a lot of people and not for me. Just because I didn't get emotional doesn't mean I didn't take anything away. I did. She was fantastic last night.
Yeah.
But, like, I was able to see and I was able to help people. And I was able to help people make that decision to turn back to God or make that first-time decision.
And that's the thing, too, how, the preachers this week have all been talking about, like, you're here for a reason. There's a purpose as to why you're here tonight. And, like, every night I feel like that purpose has been different for everyone. Like, the reason as to why they're there, whether it's, how last night was kind of like turning your life back to Christ kind of type of thing, or, just being there for other people. I think it's been good to see that. I think the thing that I'm going to apply to my life, it hasn't necessarily been something with the sermon, but with, what's the thing called that we do in the morning at 7 a.m.?
The spiritual society.
Yeah, that's what it is. That was a bad snap. But I think those, I've been trying to go to like on more walks in the morning when I get up and just kind of like be in nature when the sun's coming up. And I think what I want to try to do is kind of like incorporate that more into my walks and not just like walk and kind of like have no thought or just like walk just to walk, but walk with purpose and have like something that I'm thinking about while I'm walking. I think that could, kind of just set my day on like a completely different path and hopefully, well, it would be the right path if it's like a God path, like starting the day with God. So I think that's the big thing I'm going to start applying to my life after leaving CIY.
I definitely want to start doing that too, especially because the Rhythms book, I think I'm going to do. The Galatians through Colossians. I think that's what it is. I'm not sure. Yeah. But I think I'm going to start doing that, the 21-day fast that they offer us at this camp. I think it's just like a huge thing. It's 15 minutes of social media a day. That's a low amount.
Yeah.
Come on, no reels. Like,
no Instagram.
But, like, I mean, and then it's like you're just in the Word all day. You take the 21-minute walk in the morning. Like, I just think that just could be so reviving and like waking up early. We've realized like the early showers, we're ahead of everybody.
Which honestly, I love it. I love doing that.
It's so great. I can't wait to do it tomorrow, like, and then go and do it again. But yeah, I definitely agree with you on taking that back.
Yeah, 100%. So when it comes to this week and like past this week, how can people stay on fire for God even when camp ends? And, when regular life kicks back in, how do you stay on fire for God?
Notebook's getting put down for this one. Come on.
It's getting real.
People always, like, when you come to a camp, people who've come to camp, people who've gone to mission trips, because you're surrounded by Jesus and Christ constantly. It's 24/7. You can't get away from it even if you try. But it is unrealistic to expect that to translate back home. That is the part that drains the fire and makes people go to their sins, go to their worldly habits, because we expect that this fire is going to continue when it's not.
Out.
Our job is not to have a firework faith, but to have an oil-burning fire.
That's good.
Oil takes a long time to burn.
Yeah.
A firework is 3 seconds, and that 3 seconds is awesome. You can have the fireworks here. When you go back home, you got to change to that oil. 4th of July is only one day, not the whole year.
That was a bar right there.
Come on.
No joke. I was literally about to say just about the same thing. Not like wording it the same, but like whenever you leave camp, everyone's like, oh, I'm so on fire. I'm going to start going to the walks in the morning praying to God, get all involved with these mission trips.
Donate $4,000 to the church.
Yeah, that type of stuff. And I think how can people stay on fire for God, whenever camp ends, is to not do it all. And what I mean by that is kind of like you said, like that fire burns out. So if you throw all your firewood into the fire, then you got nothing left to work with. But if you just slowly keep that fire going over time, then it'll sustain for so much more longer. And like you'll be able to build that relationship with God for longer. So, I mean, you basically took the words right out of my mouth on that one. But hey,
come on,
same wavelength here. Let's go. So, final question here in the first half of this episode. What's one thing you'd encourage someone else with who didn't come to CIY this week?
Just because you're not at a church camp doesn't mean you can't be vulnerable. Doesn't mean you can't step out of your comfort zone. Doesn't mean you can have those. You can go interview. Then you go interview random people in your local like stores. Like, can I interview? How have you met Jesus? Do that. You don't have to just be in the church camp environment to do that fun stuff. Worship in the shower. Worship in the car. Worship just in your room. Get on your knees and pray. You don't have to be here to do those things. Of course, if you have the option to go to a camp, do it.
100%, yeah.
But you don't need the camp. That's just to guide us.
That's a good take.
These speakers are on social media. Alex, go to Instagram. I believe someone said that he just has reels of him speaking.
Really?
Come on, that might be that might be my 15 minutes of social media.
I'm about to look into that.
I can send it to you. But it is like we have these sermons at home, and of course, being there it's different. That's a fact. But different and change is good.
I like that. I think something that I would encourage the listener with who maybe is not a CIY this week is, something that I heard from one of the sermons is that there's like a purpose for each and every person in this world, and we all have a calling, and that's what season 2 is all about, is being called by God. I think like so often we like look all around like, oh, what's my calling, when really it's sitting right in front of us. And each and every individual has a calling, and that's to live and love like Jesus every day. And I think we look so far thinking, oh, what's my big calling? But we miss what's right in front of us. Yeah. So I think that's the big thing that they've been talking about this week, the preachers, and that the person who's listening to this episode who's not a CIY this week, I think that's the big thing that I'd want them to take away is that, your calling is, well, maybe not like necessarily your big calling, but the calling on like a basic baseline level to live and love like Jesus is sitting right in front of you.
There's a new calling every day.
100%, yeah. And over time, like, as you start to do those things, like, God will provide you with more things. He'll, like, give you more things to do to, like, build your faith and, test your faithfulness. And, just over time, we'll keep building. So you have to start at the basic level, at the little things. I think that's the big thing when it comes to being called. So yeah. Alrighty. I don't know if you want to add anything else here in this first half, but
I don't. I think that's halftime.
All right. Let's take it to the half. Welcome into halftime here on the Maddox episode. As you know, back in the Ascended Faith Club, I had a brand to promote. And when it comes to Maddox, I don't necessarily have a brand to promote, so I'm just going to promote Maddox himself. Maddox is a really cool guy. You can check him out on Instagram, I guess. I don't really know of any other social media platforms you can check him out on, but he's a really cool guy. He ran for junior class president back in the day. Sadly, that campaign did not go as we were hoping, but hey, we both know that Maddox is not defined by that. But anyways, Maddox is a really cool, awesome guy. Just want to give a little shout out to Maddox on the Maddox episode because why not? You know what I'm saying? As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, be sure to let me know down below. I like hearing feedback. I like to know what do the fans want to hear when it comes to lessons here in season 2 of the GC show, or really just any other sort of feedback. I love hearing feedback from GC Show Nation. As always, if you have any prayer requests, something weighing heavy on your heart, something you're going through, anything in your life that you know that needs prayer, I would encourage you to reach out. Whether that's leaving it down below, whether that's messaging me through Instagram, or if you know me personally, messaging me personally. If you know of anyone who would be willing to pray for you, I'd encourage you to reach out to them because I think sometimes we underestimate the power of prayer, and the power of prayer is so strong. So if you have a prayer request, I would encourage you to reach out. Stay tuned next week. We'll be jumping back into the chair. But hey, why focus on next week when we can focus on right now? So let's jump back into the second half of the Maddox episode. Sluggers out. Welcome back into the second half here of the Maddox episode here on the GC show. And as you know, season 2 is all about being called by God. So what does that statement, being called, what does that mean to you personally?
I think being called there's no action in my heart of being called because you're always being called. There's no like, oh, God's ringing that phone. That phone has never stopped ringing. So you're always being called. So to me, being called is just not putting the phone down.
Ooh.
I'm confident in my journey in faith. Of course, in the past, not like that at all. But that phone is always, I got that AirPod in and it's Bluetooth to God's like phone. And of course, there's a little bit of static and a little bit of disruption every now and again, but I'm not putting that phone down. That is what being called is to me. It's just like, you can't expect every moment to like get something new or like be like, oh, God's always talking to me, you know. No. But you need to always be ready to hear what he has for you.
I really like that. That was a great answer, Maddox.
I pulled that analogy out of nowhere.
So, you know, with being called, you know, is there ever times where you feel unqualified or unworthy?
100%. 100%. Most recent one was the FCA worship night. We hosted a worship night, me and Gavin. We were able to plan one, and Vigo, and Hannah was helping, and we had a bunch of people, worship team. It went amazing. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Wouldn't change anything about it. But just before I was going up to speak, I just had a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of people there. It's the biggest stage that I've ever spoken on. And I was sharing my testimony, and it's just like, it's something that I'm not really ashamed of anymore, but it's something I'm just like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm there for attention. And like, it's not even like I feel unqualified to myself, but I don't want to make it seem like, oh, he's on stage, he's preaching his testimony, he's preaching how God's moved in his life, but it just sounds like he wants pity. And I don't want, like, that's the unqualified part of it, is I don't want to come off and sound like that, which puts a bad name on God. Like, one of the people who is representing God is just trying to get pity. Like, that's what I feel is unqualified, is I don't know, of course, in the moment, I kind of black out. When I'm on stage and I'm speaking, I'm kind of like, Holy Spirit takes over.
You don't even know what's
happening. And
happening.
I'm like, I'm scared if like I'm going to take over and it's not going to be the Holy Spirit, and then I become unqualified. Because no, I will never be qualified enough to be speaking the Lord's word. Like, I do not deserve the Bible. I do not deserve grace, nothing. I am never going to be qualified enough for that. But I think just like my personal unqualification in that moment was just like, I don't know if I'm going to take over and then go off on a tangent that doesn't like represent God.
That's a good answer. I like that. For someone who may feel unworthy of their calling, what would you tell that person?
God doesn't call the qualified, but equips the unqualified for their calling.
Dang.
In that moment where I was like, oh, I'm stressed out, God equipped me with my friends. Jason, you, Vigo, Brent, Jordan, all came up to pray for me. And when those prayers hit me, it's just like I have bricks stacked on my back, and you guys are just taking them off one by one. And I think that's what God equipped me with in that moment. So if you feel unqualified, of course, it doesn't need to be even a situation where you're on stage speaking. That's very rare. Like, that's not something you're going to come across every day. But like, just in those moments, try to point out what God has equipped you with rather than what God is making you do. And I just think that is what like people need to focus on.
Like that. So how you're saying earlier, like talking about never putting the phone down. You know, what does your calling look like on a daily basis? Never putting that phone down. Never
putting that phone down just means like waking up, and I'm a very big digital Bible person. The Bible that I have that is my physical Bible. I have the Athlete's Bible, which I read some of the devotionals in there. And then I have the Bible my grandma gave me, which I really don't want to start like marking up and stuff until she passes. Like, that's like what I want to do for her. And that's what like she's told me, like, I want you to start like really getting into this specific Bible. And then like, I don't have another physical Bible. Like, I either have given them away to people or I just haven't bought enough. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm a really big digital Bible person. So when I get up and get my phone, and I have horrible handwriting, so it's really easy to write notes in that too. And so when I get my phone, I think my daily calling, like when I first wake up, is like I need to make sure I'm not hopping on Instagram, or I'm not hopping on TikTok, I'm not hopping on Snapchat, I'm not texting people. I'm in the Word, and then I can deal with my daily life stuff. And then I can go to work. But then when I'm at work, on my way home, I can listen to a sermon. I don't need to listen to the secular music. I can worship on my way home. Like, the daily stuff isn't, oh, there's a homeless person, I'm going to go pray for them. It doesn't need to be that big stuff because that's big.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It is, yeah.
Of course, if you have the confidence, you have the in our area, we're very blessed where we don't really have those opportunities. Homelessness or unhousedness is
it's very rare.
It's very rare.
Yeah.
So, but like, I just think it's different in other locations. Like, if you have the opportunity, of course, take it if you have the confidence. But then you got to be mindful and you got to be safe to yourself. But I just think that daily calling is like the little stuff. Like you were talking about in the first half with like you got to focus on the little things at CIY. You got to focus on the little things for your calling as well.
Yeah, I like that. So, who or what shaped your worldview the most?
I think just my church family as a whole. I have been going to our church since 3rd grade, on and off. I am not perfect. I have taken breaks because we've lost some youth pastors, some employees, and some friends. You know, I've moved churches. It's just very difficult to stay with the church. But 3rd grade, so it's been 9 years now.
That's insane.
But I just think that family has truly just helped me so much. Vigo is a huge person who's really affected my faith, and you have been a huge person and huge role model in our small group leader, Marcelo, and currently Brent, our youth minister, has really truly just been working in my life. So I think just like the church family as a whole has truly just like shaped my view of the world, as the world is wicked, but God is still there.
Ooh, that's real good. So now, what's a big risk that you've taken in your life? And what did that big risk teach you?
Oh, big risk. All right. This is not like a God moment, but it is, because nothing just happens for an accident.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
I'm in Utah, Park City, Utah, for spring break, and we're skiing there. It's with my family, and I am going down a blue, and levels go green, blue, black diamond, double black diamond, don't go. And I was going on a blue, and the blue leads to a black diamond, or you take a left and it goes 2 more blues. I've skied. I used to live in Denver, so I've skied for a long time of my life. So I can do the black, but Park City is intense compared to Colorado. It's intense. It's crazy. But this little girl, and if you've ever been skiing before, you know it's 2 feet. She's kind of sitting on her butt, and when you fall on your butt when you're skiing, you don't stop. Like you kind of just slide if you're sitting on the skis, and she's really little. So like I was able to grab her like jacket hoodie and stop her from going down that black diamond. Like her mom came over and thanked me. I think that's just like, is the God moment, is that you're always in the right place at the right time.
Ooh.
It doesn't matter if it seems bad. You're in the right place for a reason.
100%, yeah.
And I think that's just like that moment. And it's like, my family talks about it all the time. They're like, oh, he's superhero. Like all of that. But like, I just genuinely like that. And I've actually, it got brought up. Like I was texting my mom the other night and it just got brought up. And like before we came here. And then so it's been on my mind like during this trip. And it was the rope with Vivi. And just like, that's when I started thinking about it. I was like, God like put me in that moment just like for a reason. And like, I need to start taking more moments like that.
Like that, just staying in the present, you know, and that like God has you there for a reason.
Yeah.
And everywhere. And like applying that to all aspects of life. Like that's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
So what's something that people would be surprised to learn about you?
I don't even think you know this. And
Really?
I think you would be very shocked. I used to hate talking to people.
Really?
I was not a social butterfly. I was straight-faced. I'd go to school,
No
you know,
way.
maybe throw up a couple jokes. But
That's crazy.
no social battery in me whatsoever.
That's actually nuts.
Yes.
Well, for sure you've come a long way.
Definitely,
then. Yeah.
definitely.
You're probably one of the most social people
You can't get me to shut up now.
Dude, that's actually crazy.
Yes.
So, you know, where do you want to grow personally or spiritually in the next year?
Next year, we're seniors.
Dude, that's crazy.
Going off to college, and
Can't believe
tonight we get the opportunity, and you're going to see the decision, and Caleb talked about this morning, with we can decide if we're going to vocational ministry. I think my path is vocational ministry. So I do think I'm going to go to a Christian college, and I'm going to commit to vocational ministry. So I think my spiritual growth of the next year is just figuring out which branch it is. Right now it looks like it's going to be youth. But just continuing to grow with God and just focus on the aspect that not only should I be in the present, but I also need to think about, you know, my future a little bit with like which school.
Yeah.
Which ministry. So
100%. Yeah. It's not an easy decision. So yeah. So what's your favorite Bible verse, and why is it your favorite Bible verse?
Isaiah 43:2. For when you walk through deep waters, they will not sweep you. When you walk through rivers, they will not take you. When you walk through fires, they will not burn you. And
Bang.
My phone's on the ground, but in the back of my phone, I have a sheet of paper that has Isaiah 43:2 in it. But it's just like a short version of it, and it is, I will always be with you through deep waters, which is the paraphrase version that a lot of people like to use. That I personally use if someone asks, like, what's your favorite verse? I just hit them with that. Had to flex that I know the whole thing for the GC show. But it was at CIY last year, actually, that we met some people who lived in a different part of our state in Tampa, and they just were very nice, very sweet people. You know, during this trip, we've been calling them and stuff and every night because they want to CIY a different week. We've been comparing notes and stuff. And just literally, it was probably the hardest night of CIY, like the most emotional for me. And I got handed that by one of the girls. And like ever since then, it's been my favorite verse.
Really? That's actually awesome, man.
Shout out Shyla, shout out Izzy.
Shout out Izzy.
Come on.
On the GC show. Here we go. So this is actually a question that I haven't asked like hardly anyone ever. It's a question that I think I should start asking more people.
It's fun.
I think it's a fun question, yeah. When it comes to the books of the Bible, which 4 are on your Mount Rushmore?
All right. We got John.
John.
Come
like
on. It's my personal favorite gospel. It is what we're going to start working through at church all year, which I'm pumped about.
It's going to be so fun.
It's a great book. My second is Matthew. As me and you have talked about earlier, the parables, man, they get you thinking. They are great. Romans just hits you. It hits you.
Yeah.
It doesn't miss.
So
it doesn't miss. And then I had 1 Corinthians. I think it's James.
Really?
It's short. It's 8 chapters. 8 or 9, I believe. I think it's 8. It's 8 chapters of straight heat.
Yeah, James is just bar after bar after bar when it comes to verses.
Doesn't miss. It is. Yeah. I love James just because if someone is like, where should I start? Start in one of the Gospels or start in James?
100%. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, that's why it's in my Mount Rushmore. Like, you can't not have the starter not be in the GOAT conversation.
Yeah, like, come on now.
Like,
oh, gotta love
David
it.
is MJ.
David, oh, what a ref. Shout out Josh Guthrie for that one. Oh, man. So now I want to ask you, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
You can't live 2 lives. You can't. In my past, I tried to mask up, hide my insecurities, hide my, vulnerability. You can't live 2 lives. Be open, because that's how you focus on one life. One of the quotes that we heard last night and I shared with you is that you aren't tired of multitasking and doing a lot of things, but you're tired of multi-masking. Live one life, because if you don't, it's just going to be a struggle. Don't act different around your friends. Be just you.
Be the person that God made you to be.
Exactly.
That's right. So now with that, the best piece of advice you've ever received, but now what's the best piece of advice that you would want to give to the person listening to this episode?
I think the word that has been said the most, other than God maybe, is vulnerability on this episode.
Yeah.
Be vulnerable. Vulnerability is what has defined me as a person in my life. And of course, God defined me, but God allowed vulnerability to define me. And I just think getting vulnerable with your family, with your friends, with your small group, with your church is just such a building thing and such a relieving thing. I used to be scared to share my testimony. I used to be scared to open up my insecurities, my anxieties and whatnot. And I started sharing them, and it's nothing but people lifting me up. And if someone is going to be like, oh, he's weird, he's going through this, their heart's not in the right place, so why does their opinion matter? If someone's going to judge you or blame you for something, then they're not somebody that you need to be opening up to. And that's what allows you, even getting vulnerable, allows you to figure out who is friend and who is not.
I like that. That's some good advice that you just gave to the listener there.
Hope the listener takes it real.
Yeah. So that is about all we have here today on the Maddox guest episode. It's been real. I gotta shake your hand being on the show. It's been awesome having you on the show this week.
Months in the planning.
Do what?
Months.
Yeah, it's been so long in the planning. And Maddox has been. You were actually the first person I told whenever I had the idea of starting the GC show. We were at the football game. I was like, "Yo, think about starting this podcast."
I was like, "Go for it!"
Yeah.
What?
And Maddox has been a huge fan since day one. One of, if not my best friends. Love Maddox to death. So it's been awesome having you on the show this week. And it's cool, like filming here at CIY because it's something different, and like the conditions we have here, they're not like perfect, but we're still like getting the product out.
Yeah.
And that's what life is all about. Like the circumstances aren't going to be different, but you still got to get out there and do the thing that God is calling you to do. So it's been awesome. And literally our second camera, I don't know if you heard it.
It died.
It died. Yeah, it started beeping in the middle of the episode.
But we kept rolling.
Yeah, I was like, oh crap. Because like now we don't have a secondary camera angle, which we have for like the first 4 minutes of the second half.
But it's perfect.
Yeah.
We'll do it with what we got.
Oh yeah, we'll be able to.
I really hope they can hear the outside noise. That would be funny. That would be funny.
We'll see if the mics pick that up. But that is about all that we have today for this week's episode. So as always, I'll let Maddox do the honors of doing the slogan at the end. But as always,
be great today.
Or hold on.
Oh, you got your thing. You got the thing. It wasn't a Louis pull.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. I'll see you guys next week.
Be great today. And as always, praise God.